Welcome.
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 Starting off our journey in Mesopotamia, in an area known as the Fertile Crescent, the Sumerians were one of the first groups to form a civilization. They based their communities around the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. The rivers flooded at least once a year, which left fertile silt for them to farm. Hammurabi, a leader, realized that a single uniform code of laws could unify diverse groups within his empire. He had his code engraved. They created cuneiform, a form of writing. Now to my partner.
Moving out east to ancient India, two of the most common religions still today were produced, Hinduism and Buddhism. Both have common aspects such as their similar end goals and their belief in reincarnation, but the two are also very different. Buddhism focuses on finding inner peace, while Hinduism focuses on moving up in the caste. The caste system of the Hindu religion reveals a struggle for ancient India, as the untouchable population was and still is seriously mistreated in the community, as they are forced to do the dirty work, live outside the town, and are seen as inferiors to the other caste levels. Besides the two religions, another key aspect of ancient India is the Indus Valley civilization seen up here. Just like every other civilization we have looked at, the Indus Valley civilization is centered on a river, the Indus River. This civilization had nutrient-rich soil and was very advanced for its time. The city was planned out and built very carefully in advance, and their plumbing system was better than that of many 18th century river civilizations. It was a very peaceful and successful place up until its demise.
Ancient China was divided into dynasties. A dynasty is a dynasty because it was ruled by an emperor. The first dynasty was the Shang dynasty. They got taken over by the Zhou, who were the longest lasting dynasty. Finally, the Qin took over and brought all the city-states together through their ruthless leader, Qin Shi Huangdi, who would stop at nothing to win all the little wars he started. Han took over next, who lasted a long time by being peaceful, which was much needed after the Qin dynasty. After them were the Sui, who got overthrown quickly by the Tang. Then the Tang got overthrown quickly by the Song dynasty, who then got taken over by the Yuan. The Yuan were different because they were basically the Mongols. The Ming were next. They built the Great Wall of China. It was a source of protection back then from the Mongols, but now it is one of the greatest wonders of the world, stretching over 13,170 miles long. And last of all, the Qing dynasty, who were the last dynasty in ancient China.
Alright, now to Greece. Greece was actually divided by city-states. They were all the same country, but there were often conflicts between city-states. Two of the more powerful city-states were Athens and Sparta. Athens had art and democracy, whereas Sparta was geared for war. The Peloponnesian War was between Sparta and Athens, and later they fought as Greece against the Persian Empire in the Persian War. Some important learning came from Athenian philosophers like Socrates, Hippocrates, and Aristotle. Socrates began the Socratic seminar. All doctors nowadays must take the Hippocratic oath. Now to Rome.
In Europe, ancient Rome had a government system that is still seen today, as the United States has a very similar one, with an executive, legislative, and judicial branch. But ancient Rome is most commonly known for Julius Caesar and its Senate. Caesar gained power through the government and became part of the triumvirate along with Crassus and Pompey, seen here. Short story, Crassus died, Caesar left to conquer present-day France, and Pompey was left as sole leader supported by the Senate. Despite being told to stay out, Caesar basically went to war with his own city and won. He became leader, and a portion of the Senate, who before the triumvirate had nearly all the power in Rome, wanted him dead. So they killed him. The goal was that killing Caesar would bring the power back to the Senate, but it did the opposite. Caesar's death triggered the start of many emperors to start taking over, and it is also believed by many to be the beginning of the Roman Empire. Ancient Rome struggled to sustain a stable government throughout their time, which eventually led to their downfall, which is similar to how many other civilizations fell. Putting the governmental problems aside, ancient Rome seriously succeeded in the field of architecture. Many concepts that were developed in Rome are still seen in modern day, such as arches, cranes, and cement, and much more. All these features are seen in the Colosseum, which was the greatest architectural feat of its time, if not of all time.
Islam is a religion that was started by Muhammad. Gabriel, an angel, came down from heaven and told Muhammad to preach about God or Allah. Main part about Islam is the 5 pillars. The first pillar is the testimony of faith, which is saying that there is no true God but God and Muhammad is the messenger of God. By saying this, you did the first pillar. The second pillar is prayer. You must pray 5 times a day, at dawn, noon, mid-afternoon, sunset, and at night. Third pillar is supporting the needy. Basically, this is up to you. You can give or do as much as you can. Fourth pillar is fasting during the month of Ramadan. Every year during the month of Ramadan, all Muslims fast from dawn until sundown. And that is no food, drink, or sexual relations. Fifth and last pillar is the pilgrimage to Mecca. You do this once in your lifetime for those who can physically and financially do it. 2 million people go, and they wear special simple clothing so that they can all stand equally in front of God. That is not nearly all of Islam, but it covers just the basics.
Now to Mesoamerica. The civilizations in current-day Central and South America were the Aztec, Inca, and Maya. All the civilizations were polytheistic, worshipping different gods for different aspects of their life. The Aztec and Maya both had a similar calendar system. The Mayans said that time was a burden, and the gods carried the burden of time on their shoulders. When they handed off time, a day, month, or year on the calendar changed. Their calendar was a 360-day calendar. The Mesoamerican civilizations made human sacrifices to their gods. All of the civilizations fell apart for reasons in which nobody is certain. Some say famine, some say war. Later on, the Spanish came overseas and conquered the land.
The Indian Ocean Trade Network was a trading network run along the coast countries on the Indian Ocean with goods being transported by boat. The network connected Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. Swahili was a language that many of the countries involved spoke. This common language made trade in these countries much easier. Items commonly traded were timber, technology, slaves, food, and much more. The people involved were very intelligent as they were able to predict the monsoons in this region, allowing for easy travel from coast to coast. This concept of predicting the weather is still used today among many trading companies. One of the downfalls to the network was that when the Silk Road and other land-based trade routes became popular, the ocean network would lose popularity.
The Mongols were nomadic people originating from the Asian steppe. They revolutionized warfare by being the first to use bows and arrows while on horses. They also invented the stirrup, which allowed them to stand on their horses with stability and fire their arrows accurately. This type of warfare was very fast, and enemies of the Mongols could not keep up, and therefore is very effective. The Mongol Empire would go on to build the largest land empire in the history of man, largely because of the greatest Mongol leader ever, Genghis Khan. Khan expanded the empire all the way from China to Eastern Europe by being both ruthless and nuts. Khan was able to make people feel safe in his empire by destroying anybody who threatened his people. He also did not attack those who submitted to him and accepted their religions. Khan was also cruel and merciless to enemies who defied him. His legacy lived on through his enormous empire.